Hello, everyone, and welcome to the No Good Podcast, where we are joined by Peter Chao, the Canadian comedic legend, an icon in the YouTube vlogging sphere, a pioneer, if you would say, who has paved the way for so many other YouTube comedians. Peter, first and foremost, we were talking about the pandemic and being distant and all that stuff right now. Hope you're good. Hope all is well with you despite everything going on.
All is well, and I have to say, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I'm not a musician. You know, I don't sing, I don't rap, but I really appreciate you guys just having me on the show. It's an honor.
Well, I mean, what you do is pretty damn talented in its own right? You know, maybe it's not music, but it's a different type of music to our
I guess
ears.
TikTok is a little bit of a music app, I suppose. I'm almost kind of taking advantage of that platform just to do my own shit. It's like, and by the way, can I say shit on the show?
You can
say whatever you want.
Very good.
You never know. You never know in these situations. But yeah, I mean, TikTok was made for the dancing and the singing, and then I was just like, why don't I just use this app to do my own shit? So, you know, it's a good avenue to kind of explore my own comedy. I love short form as well, you know, because I'm used to the whole, you know, YouTube thing. But by the way, I have to say, thank you so much for that intro. Pioneer?
Yeah.
You're 11 years in the game. Come on.
Yeah. Come on, man. Come on.
You guys are nice, man. You guys are the nicest people I've ever met.
YouTube hasn't been around long enough for there to be other. There's you're a pioneer, man.
I joined YouTube when there was no money in it. That's how early it was. It was just like, man, all my videos are blowing up, and I'm not making any dough on this. And now I'm seeing you know, all these kids. You know, I love to say that. You know, all these kids,
all these young kids,
kids on the come up, just you know, doing what I did. Man, if I was making bank back in the day, like you know, at the peak of what I was doing, man, a lot of dough would have come my way. But hey, you know what? We move on, and now TikTok's almost kind of like the new YouTube, where YouTube was, where there's no, you know, sort of sustainable, I guess, monetization method. You know, I think creators in the U.S. get some sort of fund, but I'm not sure how significant that is. So sure you guys have intel.
No info, no inside sources here. But no, I'll ask you. You actually bring up something interesting where it's like. Is that even the thought process you have nowadays when you're making videos? Is it, you know,
money?
Like, yeah. Is monetization the first thing that pops up, or?
No, certainly not. I mean, I think that if that was the approach that you took with anything that you did, I think that's the wrong approach. I think building a brand and building a foundation, building an audience, I think that's what leads to people wanting to monetize. I mean, if you beg for money right out the gate, I don't think it bodes well for a sustainable future. You know, as a creator, you want to create because it makes you happy, and you want to create because you genuinely want to put something out there that makes people laugh and smile. And, you know, it always makes me really happy when people reach out to me, even, you know, back in the YouTube days, they'll say, you know, wow, like, you know, I grew up with your content. You know, it's a good feeling to have that. And then when people have shitty days in which they're down on themselves and they say that, hey, I watched a few of your videos and it just really made me laugh and it made my day. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, you can't really monetize. You can't put you can't put dollar value with that. It just makes you feel good, and it makes you feel like even when you're making the content and you don't think that it'll impact people in a particular way or in a specific way, you end up getting feedback that it did. And it's just it's wonderful when that happens.
Speaking about your content and your channel, I remember like as an early subscriber, you were always wearing sunglasses and had the accent on, and we never really knew who the real you was. So when and why did you decide to start acting like yourself on your channel?
You know, it was a good question. I mean, it was entirely by design. You know, at first to have almost kind of the character, you know, just to be a mystery. You know, essentially, it was a way for me to, you know, have a private life as well. Because at the time I had just finished, I think I was a year removed from film school. I was taking public transit a lot, and I still do if you know the situation begs for it. But I was out a lot, and I didn't want to get recognized without the sunglasses. But people were able to come to that conclusion. Someone actually took a picture of me, like in my regular glasses. And they took it from a far away. And then this was before like there were Snapchat filters and Instagram filters where you could just put sunglasses on anyone. They like took it into like Microsoft Paint and painted glasses over my eyes, and then they would put it on the internet and go, "Hey, I think I found Peter Chao." But to answer your question, it's I almost see myself as kind of like especially back in the day, kind of like an internet version of Borat. You talk about Borat, Sacha Baron Cohen. He's a comedic genius. He's someone that I sincerely look up to in terms of the bravery and courage that he approaches that comedic style. But I wanted to emulate that, at the time. But a few years down the road, I was like, well, I think it's time that I prove to myself that I can do something else other than a Chinese accent. And yeah, that's it. That's the story behind that. I just wanted to see if there was something else that I could do. I missed having a boss, surprisingly, because I was my own boss creating content for so long that I was like, wow, I wonder what it's like to actually report to someone and to go, hey, what do you want me to do? Like, what character do you want me to play? What are some pieces of dialogue that you want? Like, what's the story that you want me to tell? And I wasn't able to do that as Peter Chao because I was so protective of the character at the time. Kind of like the Undertaker and the Chinese accented version of the Undertaker from WWF days. I was just so protective of the character. And looking back, I'm not saying that I shouldn't have been, but there were certain instances that I think handicapped my opportunity in terms of, chasing the dream outside of the YouTube game.
Now it's a different process, that creating your own videos, creating your own YouTube videos versus going out there and acting, and now you're on set and you're dealing with writers, directors, producers, that you're getting all this feedback and trying to deal with it. What is the main difference you realized in yourself when you're on set and you're doing it versus you're at home in the comfort of your own home making these videos?
I think time, really, because you're on someone else's time.
True.
And you're also, when you're on set and you're acting, you're putting your best foot forward in terms of realizing a character that they invented on the page. When you're at home and you're developing, what scenarios would Peter Chao fit into? Should I go out and troll people in the public? And I see those videos all the time now. I don't know what's real, what's fake. I never faked a video back in the day. I loved the genuine reaction that I could get out of people just by saying certain things to them.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like, and you're so kind to say that I was a pioneer. I really, really appreciate that. But I do see a lot of the content that I guess I'm not sure whether I was the first one to do it, but I certainly really
talk that shit. Talk that shit.
Yeah, man.
Because it's true. I appreciate all of the people that do the prank shit now, and people who are a little bit more so like creating content on the edge. And I feel like at the time when I started YouTube, it was just, I don't know, it was just for kids. Like you had like the Freds and like you had content created for kids. And I was like, this platform needs an edge, So I decided to like literally every 2 words was like motherfuck you, fuck, mother bitch, all that shit, and I was like, well, I mean, I no such thing as monetization anyway. Fuck it. I'll just do whatever I want. So that's what I did, and I always like I just love when Chinese people swear, especially when they, aren't particularly good at English, because like the Cantonese dialect is just so pointed that when you say words like fuck, it just has that sort of like, wow, it sounds good. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's the main difference between the two. I would say just the ability to realize a character that was invented by someone else versus concepts that you would come up in your own living room.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, like, did you ever find it difficult to take a break from YouTube? Because everybody knows if a YouTuber takes a break, the fans think it's eternity, even if it's for like a few days.
Actually, there were rumors that I was dead.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they were like people, like when people like disappear for a few days or even a few months, online. I think now it's worse. I think it's so important to maintain like mental health. I know it's like, it sucks because as a viewer, you expect, creators to be able to churn out content. If you churn out too much content, then it gets to be like you're making too much. Like you're not going to make them happy. That's the end of the day, is that there always are going to be a certain subset of your audience, whether they're loyal or whether they're casual. They're going to be upset with the amount of content that you deploy to the platform. And that's when it came to kind of like, a situation where I was like, I felt like I was making a video to pay bills. And that's when I had to decide, like, I don't want to do this just because I need to pay a bill. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to do this just because there's a brand deal and there's offers on the table to do this. I wanted to do something else, and I wanted to prove myself in other ways. And I feel at the time, and it sucks because like just as I made that decision was when there were a lot of opportunities to make a ton of money. But it's just, man, I wasn't happy doing it. But taking breaks, I took a lot of breaks. I'm on a huge break right now, a few years now, especially the YouTube game. But it's nice. It's nice seeing like all the people that come and go. I mean, even when you look at Jake Paul's, I mean, I feel his time is somewhat expired. He's a boxer now.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a good boxer, but he's a boxer. He wants to do it, and you gotta respect the guy for wanting to be a boxer and training to be a boxer. But now it's entered into a whole new sort of phase. Yeah. And I think it's important for all of these people to take the breaks that they need to truly enjoy and love what they're doing. Because if you are not loving what you're doing from a content perspective, don't do it. It's just it's a waste of everyone's time, because people can tell. Yeah, people can tell when you're starting to lose a bit.
I think one thing that's underrated as well is that you yourself, you grow out of certain things, and you just develop new interests, new things that you like to do. And that becomes such a huge part of what like the component of a content creator is, right? Like Jake Paul, you mentioned it. He's into boxing now, but he's also trying to be a rapper, right? He's also making.
Oh yeah, he's a rapper. He has little feuds with KSI and
Right? So it's like it's interesting, how the mind of a content creator works. Did you ever go through a phase where you're like, oh, I'm so interested in this now, so I'm going to dive fully into it and kind of immerse myself into that?
Honestly, it was acting all the way. I felt like, because I never wanted to be an actor as a kid. I surprisingly, I wanted to be behind the camera. I went to school for directing, producing, editing, things of that nature. And then when I started doing the Peter Chao thing, I was like, oh, I kind of like the way that I look in front of the camera, because we all have problems with our ego.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I look pretty good with these shades on. And then I took them off one time, like years down the road, and then people were like, man, your eyes are like, really close together. And then because like there were theories, when I did do the shades thing, where people had theories of the reason why I had sunglasses on. Rumors of I had a cocaine addiction.
I knew it. I knew.
See, it's revealed. It's finally revealed. Right here.
That's the title right there.
That's pretty funny, because even on our YouTube channel and everything, I actually started a gimmick too, where I was wearing a hat and sunglasses for all of my videos, and I was actually inspired by you, because I just found it so funny, right? And then even in our comments and everything, people would be like, "Oh, he's blind. He doesn't even know what's going on. He's this, he's that," and I'm like, "Oh my god, bro!" Like. They're like, oh, if you take off the sunglasses, maybe you could see the video better. Yeah.
People just kind of come up with their own narratives, right? When you refuse, especially for such a long time, I did it for like from 2009 to 2014. I didn't take my glasses off once. And I was super protective. When people like saw me in public and like came at me, and like, when you're in the position that I'm in, where you're kind of ready. You're always looking around to see if anybody recognizes you, and when they do, whether you're at a mall or something, I had like an extra pair of sunglasses like always in my pocket that I would just swap. I'd swap off my real specs, and then I'd put it was a pain in the ass, because I actually legitimately can't see without these guys. So I'd take them off and I'd put them on, then I'd take the picture and I'd take them off, and then people try to snap photos like right after as I take them off, just to see. Put that on the internet. That's the mystery. When you withhold information from people who follow you and are avid fans of you, I'm not going to say they don't like it, but they want to find out the truth.
Yeah.
But they certainly thought that I was either a cocaine addict, heroin addict, or I was cross-eyed. That was another theory. I never
can
got
see
the
that one
blind
too.
theory. That's so interesting. You guys got the blind theory. I got the cross-eyed theory.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh man. So there's been a lot of backlash or some backlash on your earlier videos. Did those comments and those engagement ever really get to you or bother you?
Not really. You know,
Right.
especially now we're in the cancel culture phase.
Cancel culture.
Yeah.
Cancel culture. One of you guys brought up a really good point earlier, which was, with my content at such an earlier stage, did I ever think about, what I was doing before I did them? And I have to say, and like, we grow, right? As creators, we grow over the years. Things that I regret that I did now, back on the, in the days I would make fun of, like, I'd made fun of, like, gay people, fat people,
Yeah.
black people, Chinese people, obviously.
Yeah.
And yeah, there is, certain videos that I'm like, well, I took that down like as soon as I put it up. But people find it. People
Yeah.
dig for those videos and they find it and they repost it. And now, you see them on Twitter. I did my due diligence back in the day. I took down those videos, but they find him. They found the videos and here we are. And it's like, thank goodness for, YouTube's like copyright system or community guideline system. You can actually get people who repost your videos from 10 years ago,
Yeah.
take them down. But yeah, I certainly made mistakes. I think some are still out there that, are still pretty bad.
Well, I mean, like, it's kind of a thing, and this is with cancel culture in general, where it's like there's an acceptance, right? Like 10 years ago, those jokes were widely accepted, right? And
Yeah.
I mean,
Widely.
whether we like it or not, that's kind of what the culture was at the time. It's not that now. Do you think that's an issue that kind of people have to look and kind of take into consideration, even when you're making content now for 10 years from now?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's the hardest time right now to be a comic.
Yeah.
And nobody says it better than Dave Chappelle in his latest special. When he does an imitation and he's like, "That's you." It's literally the toughest thing to be a comic. Obviously, with the pandemic and everything, it's impossible to be a comic. I'm not sure if you guys have ever tuned in to comics trying to, stay relevant on Zoom. Like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. You need a live crowd. And some of the stuff that I did for my old videos, I tested with real audiences. It's not like I, always hid behind the lens. I would actually take the character to stage and do stand up with the glasses.
Oh,
And
wow.
people in the back would always wonder, like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, why is he wearing shades? It's like dark as fuck back there. It's like, it's so, yeah, if you guys have ever done stand up or anything, it's super dark and dingy and run down in the back. When you go out, it's fucking bright. So it's kind of great when you walk out on the stage and you do the Chinese accent, you got the shades, you almost feel like a layer of protection. So I would test my bits, a lot of the bits that I did, like Chinese people talk so loud, I tested that bit out in front of the stage. Yeah, I tested a lot of material, just to make sure that I wasn't the only one who found it funny. And not a lot of people nowadays have the ability to do that because it's a different medium. It's different to be funny and edit yourself and manipulate the footage to, see the result that you want. But to test it live to ensure that the comedy and the material is funny before you do it on video, that's a whole another skill set.
For sure. What advice would you give to someone who want to start a YouTube channel today in 2020?
Ooh.
I have bad advice because I don't think even I could. I can't blow up a YouTube channel now. So I think it's the age old sort of saying, be yourself, but it's impossible. Like, being yourself is authentic, but at some point you're going to find yourself even being yourself is not really being yourself.
Ooh.
So
I like that. That's an interesting thought.
It's strange because you think that you're being yourself. It's like, oh, I'm being my authentic self. But then, you do video after video after video and you start to feel like I'm doing this for them.
Yeah.
It's like whenever you see content where they start out, hey guys, what the, like all that stuff, like it literally, that is not you. That is not how you talk. That is not how you say hi to people. No, I'm just kidding. Good for you.
He's definitely hurt now. You heard him real deep with that one.
What's up, everyone? You know, like all that stuff. It's like, it's not how you talk. But
No, that's how I talk. That is how I talk. I promise. I promise that's how I
hey,
talk.
if you talk the way that you did and you put me over and say that I'm a pioneer every time, fuck, just continue talking.
I got you, dude.
Like
I got you, dude.
Sounds good for me. But my advice, I think, is to, you know, keep a level head. You know, I think the most important thing, be yourself, but then also really ensure that you're creating engaging content as well. And if you're not, don't lie to your audience. Don't clickbait your audience into watching something that isn't actually what it's about. I think being authentic means that you're being truthful, you know, through yourself and through your storytelling. Sure, if it's a character, like you got Uncle Roger doing a Chinese accent now, and I love the guy. I love Nigel, who plays him. And people have reached out to me going, you know, this guy took your Chinese accent. I'm like, no, I didn't trademark the Chinese accent. More than one person can do a Chinese accent, right? I can't trademark that. He's got his own thing, and he's blowing up, and I think it's great because he also, similar to me, comes from the stage. He's a stand-up comic. Right. So you know his timing is there, and that's what I like because he brought back the character. The character died. You know, after I did the Peter Chao, everybody was just so obsessed with being yourself. So boring. Right. So boring, just being yourself. You got to play a character. You got to bring characters back. You got to bring storytelling back. And, you know, that's why I admire the guy. I think that, and I admire, you know, in some cases, like the Jake Pauls, you don't know how much of a character that is. And sometimes, so you kind of like,
it blends
reality with facts.
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting. When you don't know something is real or not, it becomes very enticing to follow. And I think that's what, you know, if I had to point out the positives in what he did and how he ran his business, I would say that because he was good at creating drama for many, many years.
Sure. Do you think that's still something that can possibly happen now? Do you think the mystery is still something that a content creator can establish now? Although there's really no way to keep mystery in this day and age. You know what I mean?
It's a little bit tougher. It's a little bit tougher, I guess, with the advent of like, you know, Twitter just started when I first started YouTube. It's blowing up now. You can't do anything. Like you say something wrong, like Eva Longoria like mentioned one bit about how Latinas, you know, saved the election. Yeah. And she got major backlash. Like literally you could say something, you could tweet something, you could put something up, turn your phone off. 15 minutes later, you're either being praised or you're either being canceled.
It's true.
One or the other. Even if your intention is not to say anything bad or take anything away from any other community or culture, people have an opinion.
So I'll actually, you brought me into a great thing, which I saw on Twitter. I read on Twitter, which was how important intention is for cancel culture, right? Someone intended to actually say something in a certain way, but we just kind of took it and ran with it and thought something else, right?
Yep.
How much do you think intention should be factored in when someone is being canceled? If they had good intentions, if they had bad intentions when they're making whatever content, right?
The most important thing is that the people doing the canceling, they don't care. They will not give you the time of day. Yeah. They'll read a headline and try to cancel you, and they'll spread it without looking into it or looking at the contextual side of anything. They're not going to care. Right. All they are coming out to do is to ensure that you pay for what you said or pay for what you allegedly said or what people are saying that you said. Yeah. So yeah, it's headline culture as well because headlines have to be eye-grabbing.
Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time you guys, I'm not saying you guys don't read, but like, you know, read an article that had like a really boring ass headline?
Yeah.
You don't read art. Like reading is tough. I don't know, but I don't want to speak for you guys. Like, an article has to be incredibly enticing, and it sucks because that means I'm feeding into headline culture. And it's tough because that could, one day come to bite me in the ass. Or
It's all
already.
it's all one big game of broken telephone, right?
Exactly.
You hear one thing, it goes through. Like me and Koop, we've dealt with it before with K-pop.
Did you trash K-pop?
We trash K-pop. Yeah, it's a mistake. It's a mistake.
You do not mess with the K-pop.
No.
They'll come after you, man.
And the worst part is they say worse stuff.
If you're a K-pop star, it essentially happens when you're a child. You're groomed at a very young age to be this massive icon, and you can't even like smoke. If you have like a cigarette in your hand, your fans go absolutely crazy.
Wild.
You'd be like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? You like, it's almost as if K-pop stars are a possession, and that's sort of the territory that we're entering. And if you get to that size or that sort of level in your career, you start to sense that you're not your own person because you belong to the people. You belong to the people that watch you. And that's exactly what K-pop's about. So when you're insulting whoever you're insulting, when you're talking about K-pop, you're insulting the people watching and following the K-pop as well. I did one video talking about a K-pop star, and this was prior to the big boom. I think it was in like 2015 or 16 when I was already slowing down. And I said one thing about, this motherfucker have that stupid ass hair. And I'm like, do not talk about a K-pop person's hair.
No, we did that actually.
Yeah.
Did you it's because I guess.
Yeah, no, you do, because like I think the thing we actually said was because they had different colored hair, and we're like they got like the Dragon Ball Z thing going on, and you cannot say that.
Yeah.
That is no way.
I like Dragon Ball Z. It's not even an insult. If you said that I had Dragon Ball Z hair, I'd be like, damn.
Oh man. So growing up, did you always want to be, into like acting and comedy, or did you want to do something else as a career path?
I was always a bit of a class clown growing up. I did want to make people laugh. I didn't necessarily know what acting was, in terms of the process of it, to the extent that I do now. But I've always wanted to entertain. As a kid, I would want to make friends laugh. I would, look forward to theater class. In elementary school and junior high, it's like usually that's like where the nerds go. But I was a nerd. I was a loser, and that's just what I wanted. And I don't know. I feel like we're all damaged in a way when we want to make a living out of pretending to be other people. Even when I was Peter Chao, I was pretending to be someone I wasn't. And I don't know what, like nothing traumatic happened, when I was a kid that led to these decisions. It was just simply what I found funny. Like me and like my mom and I were very much into making fun of our own culture. So when we like saw ads for all Chinese channels, when they would just pepper in English words, even though their English was fucking terrible. Like I remember seeing like an ad for Toyota. Hopefully Toyota's not one of your sponsors, but like these ads that we saw, like be like all Chinese, all the Chinese, and then right at the end and be like Toyota, like just keep it all in Chinese. It's a Chinese ad. I gotta say Toyota like that. So Toyota, and it was just we would just laugh for just hours. And then when I first initially started the character, that's where it came from. It just came from the laughter that I experienced as a child, just poking fun at our culture. Because if you can't laugh at yourself, that's the one thing. You ask me whether I get affected by the backlash. Not really, because I'm just doing stuff that makes me laugh genuinely. My intention is never to offend people. It's just what I find funny. And if what I find funny offends people, then sucks to be that.
I respect that.
I wanted to ask you, what were some of the people you look up for inspiration, and why?
I'd say Jim Carrey initially when I was a kid, big 90s kid,
Canadian guy too.
Just and you see him still do it now. I mean, the guy is just such an intellectual. And the thing with comics and people who are very good at comedy, often it makes it so they're incredibly good when they try to be very good dramatic actors. If you're funny, and if you're a funny comedic actor, usually because there is sadness that is prevalent within comedy, it makes it very easy to become a dramatic actor. You look at Jim Carrey, and then he tried to do the Truman Show, and he did dramatic roles like Eternal Sunshine.
Yep.
And then now you have like the Adam Sandlers. When he wants to and not fuck with the audience and not come up with a Hoobie Halloween or whatever the fuck, the guy can fucking act. Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
And that's another guy that I looked up to, you know, when I was growing up. People who can bring their comedy and make it live on stage. Like Jim Carrey, before he did movies, you know, In Living Color, like all the SNL people, you know, from the 70s, 80s. Like if you have the ability to make people laugh in person, and it's very different from me being able to make you laugh on the other side of the screen. And that's why I felt it was so important to take comedic bits and material to stage prior to making videos out of them, because you can guarantee, hey, I'm not the only one who finds this funny. So growing up, when I see the likes of, you know, Jim Carrey doing what he did on late night talk shows, doing what he did in Living Color, and then his transition to film, that's really when I decided, I was like, hey, I'd like to do this one day. And I thought the correct path at the time was to become a director first. But actually, now that I think about it, you'd be a lot better at directing if you understood the process of acting. So that's kind of like the flipped process now. Is my approach is I want to be a very good actor so I can then direct other actors into the performance that I think that they're capable of.
What's your process when it comes to acting? Like, how do you approach? I know that's like such a cliche thing to ask. What is your process? But but like,
read the script. This goes back to the not wanting to read. No, I'm just kidding. I read the script and I have to, you know, obviously give my interpretation of the character. And you know, my biggest role was in the Netflix show Wu Assassins, in which I was a younger character, in which someone older, actually we were only a difference of 2 years in real life, but he played the older version.
Wow.
Asian genes, you know, that's just but you know, you have to study the character, and you have to, when given that opportunity, you have to discuss with the other actor playing the older version of the character you're playing. What are you doing? What would you have done when you were younger? Because I was playing the version prior to him becoming a drug addict. So I have to kind of like look at that. And, you know, if the season gets renewed and it hopefully explores what happened before he became a drug addict, that character, the Tommy character, that gives me an opportunity to play around with characters that I can realize. And I think it's just most important is that you make a choice and make a commitment when these characters, when these opportunities come to you. Make a choice and commit to that choice that you make. And then if the director is like, hey, you know, it's not exactly what we see for the character, then he'll give you, or she'll give you, their feedback, and then you can kind of make tweaks. But you have to kind of go in with something in your mind, like, hey, this is my interpretation of it, right or wrong, and then you can tell me what's up, you know, on your side.
Has there ever been a moment where you've gotten on set with this idea, and then as soon as you get there, they're like, shut the fuck up, that's not what we wanted to do?
I don't do anything wrong. No, I mean, it's always been a collaborative process. Like if I do something in the first take, I always try to, even in auditions and tapes now, we're taping a lot nowadays when we have to like set up a ghetto ass like blue screen, and we tape and we read for certain particular roles. And a lot of the choices that you make is that, because you don't get direction when you're taping and you're submitting these auditions. And part of the struggle is this, like not a lot of people see this side of the process of acting. They just think that, you know, actors and celebrities, they got a role and they put it on Instagram and on social media. It's like that's what they think. Oh, lucky him or lucky her, they got this role. But like they don't see what's going on. Like we're in like sweats and wearing a suit up top, sweats on the bottom, and just like working our asses off trying to make choices and make commitments and you know, hopefully in this, you know, life, like it's a lottery, right? So it's it's very interesting. I don't know exactly where I was going. I don't know if even
no. I like that though. I like what you said. You're good.
Yeah, that's the process that I take. You have to make a choice.
Okay. I know we talked about monetization before, so I wanted to bring it back to there. I see that you do have a lot of avenues such as Cameo, YouTube, Instagram now. What do you find works best for you, and how are you able to make a living out of being a personality?
I like brand deals.
I noticed on your Instagram.
I like them, and you just kind of have to force it in.
Yeah.
podcast reads. That's definitely. I mean, Cameo is not a lot of money. It's like it's a good amount of money if you have a high volume of people, but like I think that Cameo is more so just giving back. It's a cool way to diversify your revenue streams for sure, but it's mostly to give back to the people that have followed the character for so long and that want to see that live in terms of you saying their name or wishing them a happy birthday. I think that's cool. But yeah, there are a ton of avenues. There's merch as well, which is great. But I think the easiest one is to do branded integrations, and it's tough because you have to kind of not be a sellout.
Yeah.
But then also have that message be integrated within what you would usually do. So it's challenging, and it's always going to be challenging because you'll always have creator or followers that'll say that you're selling out on the platform, but like what they don't understand is that I'm literally 95% of my other time is devoted to creating content that isn't paid. Especially when you're talking about TikTok. I'm literally just producing 5-6 pieces of content per day because I find it funny, and I hope you do as well. Oh, sorry if I have to do one fucking read of the DoorDash ad. Like, just like get over yourself. Watch it, support it. And when I see, a homie of mine doing, brand deals, I am 100% always on. I'm double tapping. I'm commenting because I want them to succeed. I might not like the piece of content. Who gives a shit? I might not even like the brand that they're plugging. I don't give a shit if it's like a shitty brand or what have you. I'm always going to double tap, and I'm always going to say some shit like, oh, I'm going to sign up right away. Because all the brands are looking for is engagement.
Yeah.
They're looking for likes. They're looking for conversions. I'm not going to convert personally, but I'm always going to double tap, and I'm always going to be like, good on you, because I want them to succeed. Yeah. And I would hope that others would do the same for me. Like, if you see that I'm doing a brand deal, fuck, I don't care if you like the piece of content or not. Just like it.
Support. It's support, right?
All about support. I'm hoping that that's the case. And same thing with followers. Same thing with people who watch your content for free, then to have the audacity to call you a sellout when you need to pay your bills or when you need to pay for something. Like, what do you think? I'm just making this content for free for nothing? Like, cut me some slack.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, this sounds like a bitch fest, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Literally, support my shit.
What platform do you find works best for you?
For now, TikTok for sure. It's just the short form satisfaction. I mean, when I started to wind down on YouTube, you already start to you could feel that people didn't have the attention span, to last past 3 minutes. And now, based on whatever medium that you excel in, like podcasting is great. I look for podcasts that are like over an hour long, just so that there's something to do when I go for a walk or walk my dog. And then there's a thirst for that long form content, especially now we're all in fucking quarantine and lockdown or a mixture of both. You're looking for that long form content to kind of fill time. So there is two different mediums. I mean, I have a podcast of my own, but I'm not sure anybody who followed my content up to a certain point would actually like that long form style from me. So I'd have to kind of build that up, you know what I mean, from the ground up, and not rely on any sort of existing people that follow me. But yeah, there's certainly a thirst for both short form content, long form content. And, I like to do both. I like to kind of dip my toes in every pool, so to speak.
What accomplishment are you most proud of, and why? I guess. Yeah.
What accomplishment? That's tough. I don't have one specific accomplishment that I'm super proud of. I'm just proud overall that I was able to get more than 20 people to sit down and watch my content. I'm shocked that even when I had 20,000 videos or 20,000 people watching one of my videos, I thought to myself, that's an entire arena. That's a regular concert arena of people watching. I don't think people are able to kind of think like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes people say 20,000. Oh man, my fucking video bombed. It is 20,000 hits. I'm like, it's 20,000 people, man. That's 20,000 people that engage with your content. And I'm not saying like, you know, be grateful or what have you, but yeah, be grateful.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. Every time I put something up on TikTok and I'm like, there's more than 500 people watching this. Oh man, that's like 1 minute and it's now like 20,000 views. I think about the impact of that. And it's crazy that this is the way that we consume content now. It's so easy with TikTok just to keep scrolling.
Yep.
So you have to command attention within the first 5 seconds, if that, or you're done. Next. We are in that culture now. It's next. So you better be doing some good shit. You know.
Speaking about your content, do you actually have like a process behind it where you write a script and pre-plan everything, or are you more of like take it as a go person?
I take it as a go, but yeah, I do map out things that I want to do, and I have like a notepad, you know, on my phone where I just like, you know, you'll think of the weirdest shit when you're doing other things.
Yep.
So if I don't write them down, I'll forget. So like, you know, whether you're taking a shower, well, I guess you can't really bring your phone into the shower, but okay. How about this? The R-rated version. When I'm taking a shit, I got my phone. when I got my phone with me, I will think of some crazy, just like random shit, and I'll write it down in my notepad, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that idea.
Yeah.
How can I make that different?" I think like the biggest thing nowadays with TikTok, because there's no really, you know, ownership of a trend or what have you. People will say that you're copying other people, but as long as you take an idea and you interpret it in your own way and you add your own flair to it, I don't really find that copying, more so as transforming it and making it into something more than what it was. So I think that is a huge concept, because a lot of us are inspired by other people. You take films that are remakes of older films or borrow ideas from original concepts, and you'll see that everything is somewhat of a copy, right? Even between genres. So I think it's important. The only thing I can't copy is dancing, because I'm not going to put the effort into learning a dance. These, you know, TikTok gals,
You got this.
incredibly good at doing what they do. All right, not hating, but I have a mixture of coming up with original concepts and then also borrowed ideas. I'm like, hey, what if I did this way? And then if that sort of takes off, then hopefully people enjoy it.
Okay. Well, this is a music commentary podcast, so I have to ask you, what is in your playlist? What are you listening to these days?
Mostly hip hop. Yeah. I love I don't love like, you know, new hip hop as much. I don't know if that's gonna land.
Oh no, definitely agree.
No, definitely.
But you know, I mean, I'll go through it right now, I guess.
Yeah, give us a couple joints. What do you got?
Ooh, let's see here. I call it the sweet potato puree.
Okay.
Nobody follows, like, I don't know. I can't stand people who say follow my Spotify playlist. I don't know if this is the wrong forum to say that. But like, when I overhear conversations at restaurants and go like, yeah, just follow me on my Spotify playlist. Like, nobody gives a fuck what you're listening to. Okay?
It's
That's
true.
me.
That's true. That's 100% true. I've never been a playlist type of guy either, but I mean, yeah, I don't really give a shit about playlists, to be honest.
I can't believe people even ask those questions. Like, I've never gotten that one before. Follow me on my playlist? No.
Oh, I also like R&B as well.
Nice.
I like a nice soothing, like, it can't be hard rap all the time.
Yep.
Sure.
I got some, and by the way, I might be pronouncing any or all of these names wrong. I like the Baby, Rowdy Rich, TJ, Joyner Lucas, Amigos, Young Boy, Ty Dolla $ign, Burner Bands. Code of the Friend I've never heard of Code of the Friend, but I was like, oh, that's this show. Teyana Taylor, Pop Smoke, rest in peace. Wiz Kid, Vanilla Grey on the come up. Jaden Smith, love Jaden Smith. I like.
Yes, he's good.
You know, Boslin, her, just like you know, Drake, because I'm a basic bitch. Or I'm a basic dude. A lot of basic dudes actually love Drake as well.
Yes, that is.
That's true.
So,
As a basic dude, I agree. I agree.
Facts.
there you go. There you go. Party Next Door. I love. By the way, I gotta say, I love Bieber.
Okay.
Big. I know that's like against my character because I made like 4 or 5. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like Bieber is on another level right now. I don't know if this agrees with many of the people listening, but like, dude's got a soft ass voice. That's all I gotta say.
I'm sure we got some Bieber fans. I'm sure we got some.
Sure.
Fans.
Maybe.
We definitely got some.
Who knows? I mean, like, it's really easy to hate the guy, you know,
Yeah.
based on all the personal things that he's done. But yeah, I feel like he's in somewhat of a good place now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Who knows? Who knows? What are your
Growth.
fans like?
Growth. That's what it's called.
It's all about growth. It's all about maturity.
Yeah.
But what are your fans and what are your listeners like? What kind of music do they listen to? I'll just say whatever they like, just to kind of.
We got a huge female following, so they're probably like the Bieber stuff as well too.
Yeah. I know they like Drake. I know they love some Drake. They love them.
I mentioned
Drake.
both of them.
I know, right?
Great. I'm in a good place.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're good. You're good.
Oh man, so I gotta ask you, how does 2021 look for you? Like, what can we expect from you in the new year to come?
Well, 2020 is a write-off.
For sure.
It's a bust.
Yep.
I think 2021 will be a good indication of how the platform of TikTok evolves, where it goes. Because I think we're all figuring out in terms of what the platform has to offer. I had no idea what would go viral and what wouldn't. And then when you see a video do like 8 million views, it's crazy. So I just want to keep doing that. I want to keep creating content that I love and that I want to watch myself. Like sometimes I'll make a TikTok and I'll literally watch it like 10, 15 times before I post it. I'm like, man, I'm very satisfied with what I've done here. But just to continue the grind on the acting side as well, develop my podcast. You can check out my podcast, The Peter Chao Show, on Spotify or wherever listeners listen. I mostly interview actors. But yeah, it's I think doing podcasts is really important if you want to be the one learning. I always want to chat with people who are smarter than I am. I don't want to chat with someone who's dumber. I'm not going to learn anything, right?
That's why we have you on right now.
I'm taking so many notes.
I was setting you up for that. I just wanted you to say that I was intelligent. Thank you. I appreciate it. Pioneer, intelligent.
Pioneer.
There we go.
He is on fire. But yeah. I love talking to smart people. I would prefer all the time to chat with someone who is smarter than I am, for sure. Because I can learn. I can learn from them. And I think I don't really, care who listens or who wants to listen to me talk to someone for an hour. It's mostly just for me, selfishly, for the for the podcast. I just love talking to people. And I think especially now with quarantine, it's like you're not getting to like meet up with people as much. So having the opportunity to shoot the shit with you guys, for like close to, wow, we did 50 minutes today.
Oh, wow.
Is crazy. You don't, you have to think about that. Cause like in other, even like, let's just take listeners or viewers out of the equation, just getting to sit down and shoot the breeze with a couple of guys with common interests. That's a privilege.
Thank you. But wait, before, because I know Koop really wants to ask this question. We got to do the staple on the No Good podcast. We ask this question to everybody. What is no good to you, but is good to others?
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Well,
we ask everybody, man. We ask everybody.
how deep do I have to go? Because
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. You could go surface level as chewing gum or as deep as childhood trauma. I don't know. It's up to you.
That's real deep.
This is a tough one. I mean, I hate to keep talking about TikTok, but I have to say, nobody that I know in real life likes the platform. Does that answer the question, I guess?
Yeah.
I literally can't talk to people about my TikToks that I know in real life because they're like, fuck TikTok. So how about that? That's no good to the people that I know.
Okay.
It's good to the people that I don't know. I know it's kind of a bailout answer, but
No, that was good. That was
I
good.
don't have anything else. I mean, I like chewing gum. I would imagine that it's good for everyone. What do most people? How do most people answer that question? That's a really tough one.
Some people answer food. A lot of people answer food.
Food.
Yeah.
Move
Yeah.
on. It's nice.
Like Nickelback or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good example. I like Nickelback. I don't. I actually don't. I
Like,
like
it is food. Yeah. All right, sorry.
what else? No, I think that's good. I think we're good there.
Okay.
I like it.
Speaking of TikTok, I saw that you have a really good Trump impression. So we just wanted to ask you if you could give us your best Trump impression of him giving his first speech when he has to acknowledge he lost the election and Joe Biden won.
Quite frankly, I didn't lose the election. I was very far off from losing it. Quite frankly, I won the election and I won it by a lot. 71 million people voted for me. That is the most. That is a record. Certainly a record that we've never seen. And I don't see myself as losing the election. Quite frankly, I won the election. I'm not leaving the White House. I'm not leaving ever. Here, how's that?
That's great.
The quite frankly is just on point.
That's the best one.
Just quite frankly, and the way that he moves his hands, and oh man, it's just the guy's just such. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the next 4 years.
Honestly, man.
I'm sure I could just. You know what I'll do is I'll just take his tweets, and I'll make because he probably won't have the resources once he isn't president to make videos to the volume in which he was when he was president. But yeah, I think I'll just do his tweets. I'll say whatever he says in a tweet in video form, because he's still gonna be off the rails when it comes to tweeting. Like he's gonna be on the shitter, just typing away at 4 o'clock in the morning, and that's totally fine. You know, that's content.
I can't wait till we get the first drunk tweet from Trump.
Oh,
3 in the morning.
Wasn't drunk this entire time.
That's true. That's true.
Oh man, politics. They always say stray away from politics. They always just like anytime I do a Trump video, man, like the hatred that I get from because initially when I was doing the Trump imitation at first, I was like, man, everybody's gonna find this hilarious and they're gonna agree with me on how stupid he is. And like it's a good hard 50% that comes after me and goes, I liked you up until this point.
No way.
The fact that you have the audacity to make fun of our president, like show some fucking respect. And I'm just like, listen, dude is a buffoon and I'm just making fun of him and how he talks. And why don't you just see the humor in this? Okay? Yeah. See the humor. Find it. I know that you've been brainwashed.
Essays in the comments.
My God, the comments. I got to say, like, nothing affects me personally, but wow, just the comments of just people who are stupid. And I've gotten really good at not responding to the people who just have no idea what they're saying. But it's fun just seeing people argue. Because when you think of something, like if someone says something about you, and this is the benefit of any platform that you're on, is if someone says something bad about you and you want to say something back, halfway through writing something back, someone will already have come to your defense. And you're like, okay, great. I can just the backspace all that shit. And,
Yeah, it's true.
Thank you.
Definitely feel that. But just before we go, can you let our listeners know where to find you, your socials, everything?
Beautiful. I love this part of the show.
What do you have next coming? Let us all know.
No, you can find me, all my socials on direct.me/peterchao. That's like a new platform. It's kind of like a link tree, but it's a lot better. But it's like it has all the shit there. So you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and YouTube. And you can find all my shit there. But otherwise, I really appreciate you guys having me on the show. It's just such a fantastic opportunity just to chat.
Yeah.
I love chatting. Talking to you guys.
Man.
Good conversation.
We'd love to have you back to chat some more, man.
Absolutely. Anytime, my friend. Anytime.
For sure. Peter Chao, OG YouTuber, pioneer of the YouTube game. There we have it, guys.
Say it again. All three of you guys say it at the same time.
Pioneer.
Hey, hold on. Time it. You got to time it. 1, 2, 3.
Pioneer.
Wow, you guys had the same like rhythm and tone.
We work on it. Until next time, it's the Boys with No Good Podcast. We'll see you guys soon.
Peace.
Later.